Everybody's into it. So their brand is doing that. It's a great example of that, right? And what do? They create disciples. They create fans. So those fans go home and say, oh, I went to the Phillies camp. It was so awesome. It was so much fun. The kids had a great time. We're going again next week. You should go with us. So a good brand is able to do that. They create disciples. So here's the thing. How many people know about Oprah's life? A few people, right? So let me just tell you for 30 seconds. Oprah Winfrey grew up in the Deep South. She was the product of a 14-year-old unwed mother. She had a really rough childhood. She got bounced around a lot, but she was a very bright young lady. And when she was in high school, she started working at a radio station and she fell in love with broadcasting. And one thing led to another, and she ended up in Chicago, and she was able to get this little talk show that was in Chicago, on a local channel in Chicago. And they loved it so much that they nationally syndicated it. And from there, she became a national figure, and the rest is history. She's probably one of the best examples in the world of a personal brand. A $3 billion net worth. I double-checked it last night. $3 billion. She makes between $200 and $300 million a year. She's built an empire, but she protects her brand very, very carefully, as we all know. Here's another example of J.K. Rowling. I don't know if you know her story. J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, was on welfare and had a very, very rough time. And when she sent off Harry Potter's manuscript to 25 publishing houses, not one of them bought it, if you can believe that. And she was persistent, and she stayed with it. And finally, a publishing house, the guy took it home to his 8-year-old daughter, the first chapter. She devoured it and asked, where's the second chapter? And that's the publishing house that ended up taking on J.K. Rowling. When you say that, oh, I have an unfair advantage. You have an unfair advantage, Alan. Anne's got an unfair advantage because she's Anne Madden. There's no other Anne Madden out there. Nikki's got an unfair advantage, Damon. Nikki, you've got an unfair advantage. How many times you met somebody and said, oh, I just like her. I just like Anne. She's just so nice. Anne's so nice. You know, I just met her for 5 minutes. Kristen's got that nice dimple smile. She's so nice. Nikki, he gives me a hug. I love him. That likability factor. I hug Ellen too. Obviously, you have to have skills and competencies. So you have your appearance, you have your personality, then you have, what are you going to do for me? What have you done for me lately? What are your skill sets? What are your competencies that you can bring to the party? Because guess what? People aren't hiring you for your looks for the most time, right? They're hiring you because you bring value to them. So all of you guys that are in the hotel business in this room, you had to apply for and get that job, and Kenny's interviewed a lot of people in his day, right? But you picked certain people over other people, even though they all had similar, it was because they had that certain something or they had whatever, particularly when that's your brand. That's your brand. So you get in the closet and say, okay, I'm going to put these clothes on, I'm going to go out to the world, and this is my brand, baby. I hope they like me like this, and clothes that don't fit or are inappropriate. Here's a very famous example of body language. Does anybody know this young lady's name? Anybody know her name? Remember her? Michaela Maroney. 2012 London Olympics. Do you think she won or do you think she lost? She didn't get the gold. What she got was a viral picture all over the world the next day because they caught her showing her being a bad loser, a spoiled brat. And that's how her brand was influenced because of this one picture. How many people do you think are exactly what other people think they are? No, it's pretty hard. It's very hard to do that. So, we're going to take a little exercise. This is only 3 minutes, people. But this breaks up the monotony of listening to my client. Thank you. So, sitting in front of you on your desk, there's 2 cards. So this is literally going to take 3 minutes. The first card is, don't cheat and don't show each other stuff. Here's the rules. So the first card is, I want you to write down 6 words that describe you. So what are those words? They can be anything. Passionate, funny, hardworking, meticulous, driven, competitive, whatever they are. How would you describe yourself in 6 words? And then the person who you know is sitting next to you, you're now going to write, here's the 6 words to describe your partner. So there's 2 different cards with 2 different things. And so don't let each other see that. Interesting exercise. So the real question is, based on that, Ask yourself, what do you think the biggest misperception is about you? Just based off of the little mini conversation that you just had with your partner, your friend. I'm a big believer in handwritten notes in this day and age, right? And many of you, and Ann's shaking your head, some of you still do that. That's a very old-fashioned thing that my mother and father taught me. I still do that on a regular basis. Why do I do that? Because it's part of my brand. And when people get cards from me, they mention it to me. They say to me, oh, Mike, thanks for that card you sent me. To me, it wasn't that big of a deal. It took me 2 minutes. But it made an impression on somebody, and that's a nice thing to do. I mean, how many of us in this room have gotten emails and we thought, is he mad at me? Is she mad at me? All the time, you know, all caps. Or I'm one of these guys that has to always write, hi, Ann, hope you're well. Or I have to have like a little introduction. And then at the end, best regards, Mike, right? I always have to couch it like that. That's just my style. That's part of my brand. But so many people that I get emails from, very curt, very short. I know they're busy, but I'll get one-word emails. Done. Tomorrow. There's no, hi, Alan, how are you today? No, none of that. It's like, boop, 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 right? Okay. So I draw my own conclusions from that. I say to myself, well, I must have made them mad because they didn't write Dear Mike. I don't care how busy I am, I will always respond within 24 hours to an email. Now you may say, well, Mike, come on, I get like 300 emails. Guess what? I used to get 300 emails a day as well in my old job. But I would always, even if it was a one line, got your email, out of town, talk to you Friday. I always put Dear Bob first, of course. Your resume has to be perfect. If you can't, I don't know how, I'm sure everybody in this room that's looked at resumes, I am astounded that people can actually send a resume in with typos. Yeah. How is that possible? This is your resume. How can you send a resume out? Hi, I'd like you to hire me, please. Here's my resume. I have 6 typos and some really bad punctuation. Please hire me. I'm really good. So if there's one big important message out of tonight, and it's something that I've learned in my life and in my career, and that is the more you can help people, the more you can reach out to people, particularly when people have lost a job or they're in need of something or they've had a personal family tragedy or something, it's really important to let them know that you're there. Not just because of business or not just because you're expecting something in return, but it's because it's the right thing to do, because we're all human beings and that's just what you do.